And be patient.
Okay, everybody. Thank you for attending the meeting of the Teviot Valley Community Board, 23rd of April 26. It's probably our fourth meeting, I suspect, since of the training. We've got a few people in the public gallery. So the first thing we have on our agenda today is some apologies. I have a very late apology from Hayden Smith, unfortunately, who can't make it today. He's got a very urgent issue he's got to deal with.
I'll see.
Thanks very much. I don't think there's any other apologies. The other four of us are here. Vicky, Bill, Hayden and myself, and various members from and Mayor, of course, and various management team. The next item on the agenda is a confirmation as a public forum. So did we have any pre-requested? There's no one public forum. Okay, so the next item is the confirmation of minutes from the last meeting. The minutes are there. We've all read them and they've been publicly available for a long time. We need a proposer and a seconder. I propose that those minutes be approved.
Yeah.
It's true and correct. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you. Next item is the declarations of interest. So as is with many organisations, public and private, it's required that any items that have a potential conflict of interest are declared, and by having declarations of interest in advance, that makes it very easy to determine. That is available online to anybody who wants to see that. So we move on to the first item on the agenda, which is the Roxburgh Pool Season Report. So I ask Carly to commence her report. Carly's going to be online. Hi, Carly.
Hello, how are you guys? Good, thank you.
It's up to you. You're live. David's here to hold your hand. David's sitting
virtually. So just hold it like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Carly's very good at this.
Yeah.
Sarah,
Cool,
sorry,
sure, Carly,
do I need to share my screen or do you have the presentation?
I've got it here, so I will bring it up just if you
Awesome.
wanted to start
Thank
off, and
you.
I'll bring it up shortly. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me today. I have got a report in front of you guys, but I have also made a PowerPoint presentation. Everything on the PowerPoint will be in the report in front of you. And then when that comes up, we can get started. Just waiting for it. It's coming.
On the right place, in the right place. There, okay. Sorry. Need that thing.
We've got it in front of us now, Carly. We're just
Put it on
getting
Teams.
Cool. I've got my copy. I can't see that, but I can just talk to mine.
It's rolling with a reduced number of screens. Sorry.
Oh, perfect.
Efficient. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. You can go to the next slide, Sarah. Okay, so I'm going to kick off with our admissions and attendance. So this year we had a total of 5,127 total visits to the pool. We had 80 active members. We had 2,426 members swim, so that was our largest group, and we had a really strong uptake from schools and families. This season ran from the 15th of November to the 23rd of March, and it was a total of 19 weeks. And we extended the season a good month normal than when the Roxburgh Pool normally closes. And this is just a really good snapshot of the categories of the people that attended. So you can see, yeah, casual swims were quite good. Child swims were really up there, which I know that was a priority of the board to get kids at the pool, because before they couldn't do it without a parent. So we can see that we had 756 children swims throughout the season. So that's just amazing numbers. I can go to the next slide. Thanks, Sarah. So this is just cool. These are our busiest days of the week. So funnily enough, Friday was our busiest day, which at the other pools, it is our quietest day normally. That could also be for our school bookings. And our busiest times of the day was at 10 a.m. Again, the Roxburgh School came in and we had them in for about a month. And the after school period is our busiest time for our kids, which is normally expected. And our member swims were in the morning. So we opened the pool nice and early for the early birds to get their swim in. And you can see that we had quite a few swims at the 6 a.m., which indicates to us that we had a good spread of our opening hours this year. And next slide, Sarah. Okay, the financial numbers. So the graph on the left, you can see we have our year-to-date actuals and then what we suggested for the budgets for this year. And we exceeded on every level. Admissions were well above, swim school were well above the budget, as well as rentals and hires and concessions. So all up, our total income was $26,000 for the season and the expenditure was $204,000. And then we were under our budget by $35,000 for the season. So just got that little star there that we will have electricity costs and other things coming through to the end of the financial year. So this might change after the financial year is finished. And this photo is just some of the activities that we did at the pool. So we had inflatables in and just trying to really get that fun uptake for the kids in the community, which was awesome to see. Yeah, next slide, please, Sarah. Oh, overall, we had 10 health and safety incidents throughout the season, which is pretty good for a swimming pool. We did have 2 dry rescues, and that's just a really good indication that the lifeguards that were on site were needed when we have a lifeguard intervene with a rescue. So we had 2 swimmers that got into difficulty. We didn't have to jump in, but it just says that how important the lifeguards are there. We did have a couple of, you would say, naughty youths come through the pool on several occasions, but nothing out of the ordinary, just normal kids being kids. And the pool crew and the supervisors there handled it awesomely. And next slide, please. So our highlights for the season, the pool opened successfully on the 15th of November, and that was due to our amazing pre-season employment. We went to the schools. We had everyone qualified and trained before we were open. And I've been in this role for 6 years and running Ranfurly, and this is the earliest that both pools have been open for the season. So it's a really big win for us. We delivered our first Learn to Swim program and we had 18 kids enrolled, but we also had, I think there was 130 individual sessions for the kids in Roxburgh to participate in Learn to Swim, which is just huge for the community out there. And we'll only close 3 times for the season. One was for the staff Christmas party, and then we had a couple of other staff training sessions as well where we do have to close the pool to make sure that all of our lifeguards can attend our training sessions. So no closures due to staff shortages or anything like that. So that's also a really win for our outlining pools. We did have staff move to and from pools when we needed to cover, so that was another really big advantage for us. We did have our challenges though. In February, we lost a lot of our school kids. They go back to university, go back to school, but we managed to do another round of recruitment, train some another lifeguard, and we got to stay open as we planned. And I want to take full props to our team out there and the supervisor, Ross. He worked long hours and was just determined to have the pool open for everyone. And it was such an amazing team out there. And the kids that we worked with all the way to like the local, some people that weren't at school and things, it was just a really positive team out there. And then, of course, just balancing staffing, training requirements, and operating a new pool. But anything that kind of came our way, we just handled it with calm, and there was no major big issues with the pool this year. And next slide, please. Okay, next season, I knew one of your priorities was potentially looking at shade over that toddler pool. We have investigated it a little bit further, and the way that the pool's set out and where the shade sail poles would be, it will be really hard to try and get a full shade sail over the toddler pool. So we have looked at other options, and the umbrella that you see in front of you is a really good option that will cover most of that smaller toddler pool, providing really good shade, easy for the staff to use, and we won't have to rip up concrete or fix shade sails. And that quote came in at $8,400. So I'd love to hear your thoughts after the presentation is finished. We have 95% of the staff being able to return next year. So we're already in a really good place for next season. And our qualifications last for 2 years. So we will, of course, do just a top up and refresher of qualifications, but we might only have to train a couple more staff to get us through the next season. So it's going to be a lot easier to start next season. We're also training an aquafit instructor at the moment. So one of our pool crews that were on our team has showed interest, and in the off season we have set her up with aquafit training, so we'll be able to start delivering more programs like aquafit to the Roxburgh community next year, which is really exciting. The other thing on the agenda for next season is pool safe. So Cromwell and Alex accredited pool safe pools, and if you don't know what that is, every year we get audited on everything from our training, from our health and safety to how we manage rescues, you name it, everything looked at us, and we are planning to have Roxburgh and Fairley Pool on the pool safe pools for next season. So that's making sure of our operational documents, risk management plans, and our NOPs, EAPs are all perfect, and then we get audited on it. So I'm really excited for that. And just another really fun thing that from this year, everyone that we employed, apart from one person, was either from Roxburgh, had a holiday house in Roxburgh, and been coming to Roxburgh for their whole lives. So it was a real sense of giving local people in the community job opportunities since taking over the Roxburgh pool. So all in all, it was such a fun season. I hope you guys got to go down there. It is absolutely beautiful. I loved going down there. I would actually go down to the pool once every week, once every second week, and it's just an amazing vibe down there, great location. So I'll take any questions if anyone has any. But yeah, really successful season, and we're looking forward to the seasons to come. We've got some really good data to now plan for the future as well.
Thanks, Carly. That's fantastic. And it's been the first year, and it was a controversial change, shall we say, but it's been a successful change. And thank you very much, Carly and David, for what you've done. And certainly it's improved the facility for usability for the community. I've got one question. In terms of usage, the number of people, 5,000 odd visitations, how does that compare with previous years? Could you do you have those records?
I don't have the records, but I can go like for Ranfurly, and they're actually very similar. So I'm talking about less than 100 in the difference of people that come. I can get those numbers for the previous years, but I don't have them at the moment.
Probably the thing will be slightly different as we count everybody that comes through the door to swim. I think under the last one you had a key fob. If you had a family pass, just said you just have one fob. Yeah. And so 4 people could walk in versus one. So it's a little bit hard to compare. Same group sort of thing. Yeah.
Carly, thanks for taking notice of the lack of shade over the toddlers pool. Will that shade also include being able to cover the poor parents that need to, having been one of them myself at one stage, sit for hours while your children are in the pool? Does that give them shelter as well?
Yeah, we're just trying to find the right location for the umbrella, which we haven't nailed.
Yeah.
What was that, sorry?
By the pub would be good.
By the pub will be good. Yeah, so we're just in that first like planning what's going to be best for the space, for the shade, what's needed. So we can definitely look into that. We just want to try and find the fit for purpose shade for the space without compromising walkways and things like that. Because that was the problem with the shade sales, was where the poles needed to go is where people walk, and it's already a little bit of health and safety concerns where the solar is, and we have limited foot space around there, but that's where people tend to walk. So we just have to be mindful of that. But we can look at the shade. Are you talking about like on the toddler pool towards the fence, or more to on the other side, the school side, to watch in the learners?
Just anywhere around the toddler pool so that you can just get out of the sun.
I think the way the shade sail would be, it'll be probably near the side of the pool. So half of it will be over the pool, half of it's probably going to be in a place where you can sit under. So yeah, it just won't be at the pub.
Yeah, won't be at the pub. Because well, also the lifeguards are out in that sun as well. So looking at similar or less industrial umbrellas for that fence as well. So the lifeguards they've got the shade on the solar side, but the opposite side where the school is. So we're very mindful of like the sun exposure for the staff, and that could also be some more shade over the other side.
Maybe David could get one of the hats with the umbrellas that come out the top.
Are there any plans to soften the environment? Because everything is hard edged. The seats are hard. Everything is hard. Back in the day, the bank, we used to have the grass to sit on. People would bring in their picnics and sit on the grass. Is there a way that we can potentially bring the grass back? Because that's been the feedback that I've had when I've been down there and talking to people, is there's nowhere to sit. It's very, very hard. Is there scope? Is there something to perhaps look at that in the future?
It's something we could definitely look at. We've got that bank on the side, but then we've got the fences and things. So we'd have to look into that a little bit more, and the best places for something like that. But yeah, I'll take that recommendation, and we can look into that further for you.
That would be great.
And I think for timeline, that would form part of LTP discussions, so it probably wouldn't be for this season, but maybe a consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. Even like this season, runners have been bags, just something a bit softer. Sit on, because those chairs are very, very hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there are cheaper alternatives, it can be done. So
that's what makes
sun lounges.
So you've got that big grass area.
Yeah.
You put some beautiful sun lounges in for you, and you can just relax like you're on a resort.
Sounds good.
I've got a question. The electricity with all the solar panels, how did that process go, and the payback work out?
Yeah, electricity was I can get the actual cost for you, but it was very low. It was I can try and get that now. How much time do I have? I can send it to you a bit later.
I've got some rough numbers, Carly. It was about 80% subsidised by the annual. So obviously the solar panels are working today. The credit goes into our account when the pool's off.
Yeah.
So it was about 80% less than running the similar pool out at Ranfurly. So
that's great.
Yeah, and so just a little bit where you're seeing the underspend there, and obviously we've got 3 or 4 months to go. Just there'll be enough couple of things coming, but that underspend was a good part of it was electricity that we didn't have to pay for as much as what we might thought of having to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. And we've had some discussions about the bank on the outside of the pool, because you've been involved in that. Could you just
I was going to bring up members' reports, but now keep in consideration that it is included in the maintenance contract.
Yeah.
I'll bring it up and get the reports. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's cool. Just for you, Carly, it's the bank just outside the pool. We'll pick it. Curtis will mention it as members' report, and we'll pick it up as part of our parks LTP discussions.
Thanks. Right.
Perfect. Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much, Carly.
Just
no worries.
Quick shout out to all the staff and the local staff here as well. Everyone did work really, really hard to keep that pool open for the community. It was an epic job. So
Do you think the fact that almost all of the staff came from the valley tied into that enthusiasm to always have it open every opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. And the one that didn't come from the valley was only just a bit further south towards Lawrence. So, you know, really close. Yeah.
Great retention rate. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty cool. Well done, everyone.
Can I just interrupt? Has anybody got a truck and trailer?
Yeah, mate.
Water
Yeah.
somewhere for it?
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Carly. That's great.
Right. Thank you.
The handicap park has been relocated, so.
Right, okay, we move on to the, thanks very much for that, Carly. Carly's gone now. We move on to the next item on the agenda, which is a long-term plan update. So long-term plan is 2027 to 35, 27 to 37, it's a 10-year plan. And so all the works the council are going to undertake during that period. And that's going to be run by Amelia and
Veggie. Then they're both online as well. I'm just
okay.
getting them on.
So for the while you're finding that, for the public's information, this is a council's effectively their budget for the next 10 years. It's a statutory requirement that all councils have to have a 10-year budget as well as an annual budget. So the first year of that budget will be assumed to be the first year's annual plan of the CODC. It will be the first year that they don't have, we as a council don't have waters as part of the budget. We also were going to have a bit of a chat about at some point about the annual plan. Is that part of this report? Is that next one?
That'll be Paul's one next.
And before that, Peter, would you like to intro the long-term plan while they're just trying to get it on?
Amelia, can you hear us? Like she's there, but
No, I can do. So as staff and councillors, so we've started working on the long-term plan. It's an 18-month process. So we started this probably towards the end of last year. And there's some key sort of milestones you have to meet along the way. We're going into a really interesting environment as well because we've got all this government reform that hasn't quite landed, but will land in the first 3 years of the LTP, which will have an impact as well. So being cognizant of that. Right now, we're at the stage where we are looking at the individual activities by activities to determine as we go through forward, noting that we lose waters. LTP is a good time to review your practice. Say, okay, is what you're doing still relevant? Is it business as usual? Can you reduce things? Can you increase things? And we're sort of casting that net across all our activities, mindful of our regulatory requirements that we have to meet as well. And so we're right at the beginning of that, and we're just starting to build indicative budgets. And we'll be briefing councillors in a couple of days in May, where we'll present all the activities and the options that councillors will have with regards to, do you want to do much the same? Do you want to do less? Do you want to do more? These are the anticipated costs of that through each activity class. And Biddy and Amelia are online. Can you hear us, Amelia?
Thank you, Peter. We can hear you. Can you hear us now?
we can.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. We've switched from the room with its great technology to the laptop because the great technology in the room did not want to play nicely. So thank you, Peter, for that. So I don't think I've been to this community board in this triennium. So for new members, hello, I'm Amelia Lyons. I'm the Risk and Procurement Manager, and this is Biddy Charland. And she's not been to this community board because she's new. So she's our corporate and strategic planner. And we are running the long-term plan process, which Peter just gave a great overview of. So we just wanted to drop in and give a quick update on what's going on in the LTP space. The attachment to the paper shows you a really high level timeline for elected member engagement throughout the LTP. And you will note that we plan on coming back to you with further updates as the planning progresses. We have been doing a fair bit of work over the last sort of probably 5 months now to get to a space where we can in May do some workshops with council on proposed activities under the LTP. You had a session with Alex in February, which was great to understand your priorities for this long-term plan. And as I understand it, she's coming back today to do a workshop with you on how those priorities have been through both staff and elected members at council. The next kind of big things on the agenda are the May workshops with council to go through activities. And you will note as well, there's a lot ongoing with the rates review process. So there have been several workshops with council from Paul Morris on the rates review, and that's going to continue up to a point where we do some consultation on that in a couple of months. Any questions?
Questions, team?
No, we were sort of discussing a little bit earlier about what is actually in the long-term plan specifically for the Teviot Valley.
So we're not at a point where we would have that information yet. So this is very early stages in terms of detailed planning, but that is something that we'd be able to come back with later in the process.
So it's up to us to get things in that plan. Up to us as a community.
Yeah, it might be ongoing things that roll over.
So it's not
Definitely ongoing things that roll over, like the yeah, all those sorts of, the BAU stuff, business facility, all those sorts of things may continue. You want an increased level of service or a reduced level of service, that there's a discussion to be had. Most of the things that are happening right now will be happening just by pushing the budgets. I get new things.
There are also quite a few things that are common across all 4 community boards, so it might be good to sort of get together and maybe prioritise some of those things that you put on the list that the other 3 also put on the list as high priority for their communities. So
No, just wondering if there's sort of like rollover, like something's been deferred from the last one to be brought into this one or whatever.
yeah, as we put more into this is what we think the draft will look like. We'll see what there is.
So I urge us all around the table here and members of the community to put their hand up and say what they'd like to see in the long-term plan for the valley. And there's a limited resource that the CODC have. And one thing's for sure, if we don't put our hand up, we'll get very little. So the other boards will be putting their hand up.
You won't get very, you'll still get all the services that you know. And it's not and I think that's the thing that we'd like to see in this next long-term plan. It's not a competition between each board for resources. It's a council that oversees a large area with different communities who have different wants and needs, and recognising that and how it fits in the kind of greater good for all of our communities. So that's where some of those things that are in alignment with other boards. So I don't want you to think that you have to compete with.
No, I was saying that,
I would hate for the community to then say, well, our community board is rubbish because we didn't get any of the things that we put our hand up for. So not quite how it works, but definitely I'm keen to see the community boards feeding into the process and engaging with council and submitting and all those sort of things as well as we start forming what the draft will look like. And then the draft will go out to the community.
Thank you. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, we say thank you very much for your report. Thanks, and we look forward to more, and in particular, we're going to be talking stuff at 11:35 on some other more in-depth items. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we move on to
That's the previous and the full one as well. We're in a second for the last 2.
okay. We have a mover to accept that report. Thank you, Curtis, the seconder. Thank you, Becky. Second report. Okay, the next one is on the agenda is an update on the Teviot Valley reserves. Paul Morris, the CFO, is going to do that for us. We have some reserves that are specifically Teviot Valley reserves, and there are others that are reserves of other community boards, and then there are some CNC wide reserves. But Paul's going to be talking mainly now on our own Teviot Valley reserves. Thank you, Paul. I might add that before Paul speaks, he is a resident of the Teviot Valley.
That's still the Teviot. It's still the Teviot. Further into the Teviot, I guess. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am going to take the report as read. It covers off two aspects. The first one is the draft annual plan for next year that was put to council. There was a request to have a look at the report that we put up. So I'll just briefly go over that. The annual plan was pretty much mirrored year two of the 2025-34 long-term plan. So there's no changes in really the budgets or the rates rises. Well, in fact, the rates rise is slightly lower than what we budgeted for in the long-term plan. So we've managed to work that through. But the annual plan is there available to be read. So I encourage you, if you want to have a look at that. If you are interested in specifics that in terms of physical works for Teviot, that would sit with people like Gordy, David and the pool team if there's any work to be done on that. So I'd encourage you to ask or inquire of other parts of the business for the actual physical works that they're planning to do next year. So we can now move on, if that's okay.
So in terms of the annual plan, people can look at that online.
Yeah.
Is there a last year there was an opportunity for people to go and put your property address in and tell you what the proposed new rates are for your property? Is that
what we are waiting for the new valuations to be finalised? So we've got the new valuations in draft, and everybody would have received their QV notification. There's an objection period which finishes, I believe, tomorrow. Once QV have got all those objections, they'll pretty much tidy those up reasonably quickly, and there will be some gnarly ones that they'll have to deal with. Might take a little bit longer. Once we've got the majority of those objections sorted, then we will be able to put up the tool that allows you to put your property address in or your valuation number and compare this year's. What it will do is we'll compare what you would have paid with your new values. So you can look at, would your rates have gone up or gone down based on your new values? And we will be looking at a new, this is what it's going to be once the council have struck the rate, which won't be until June, mainly because of the QV objections. So we won't have finalised numbers until that point. So once we've got to that point, we will make that available.
It's going to isolate the impact of the QV revaluations.
So
Yep. And the second issue is
so it'll isolate what the QV impact is for this year if you had the new values.
Okay.
And then we will be able to calculate what's happening under the new annual plan, the new average rates rise for next year.
Thank you, Paul.
So any other questions around that?
What's the average rate annual plan?
Average annual rate rise after allowing for growth is 6.36. We had budgeted 7.5, so it's down about just under 1.2% on what we'd had in the long-term plan.
Right, I think. Well, no one likes a rates rise, but single figure one is better than
many around our region.
Yeah.
So are many people objecting to the QBs?
We normally get quite a low objection rate through QB. We'll find out early next week as to what the number is. It's usually below 1%, I think. So it's not, we don't tend to get a lot of objections. So that it can be turned around quite quickly. There have been some significant changes which may lead to a longer process for QV, and I'm talking in the respect of the hydro schemes. Their valuations have changed significantly upwards, so they will probably object to that, I suspect, and then it will go through its process.
What do you mean the hydro schemes?
Roxburgh, Clyde, the dams. Yep. For a factor of 4 times 4 increase, so they have significantly increased in value. Not that that impacts them in terms of our rating this year or next year, because we have a rates policy in place, but the objection period, or the objection for them, may take a lot longer because it might have to go through a tribunal. But I don't know whether they're going to do that or not.
How come the value of our dam goes up so much when it's getting old and sort of like the decommissioning word has started to be?
They take into account its ability to generate revenue. They do take into account its age,
right?
Certainly. That effectively they look at the replacement cost, and then they discount it by its age. So that's where the age part comes in. They also look at its income earning ability. So they do take that into account.
And they've just recognised the project of replacing all the turbines at Roxburgh. So they are putting money in to do that.
Yeah, that's good.
Thanks, Paul. We'll move on to the.
Okay, so if we move on to the reserves, so the reserves table. Well, I don't know what on the screen. That's fine. There are 4 reserves that are available specifically for and these are the reserves specifically in relation to the Teviot Valley. So there are 4 reserves that this board has discretion over the use of.
Very hard to read.
Thank you. So it's the first one on the list, the Teviot Valley Promotions. We're estimating that's going to have a balance in it of about 18,000 by year end. And then we move down to the endowment land there that's available to be used. There is the General Reserve of Teviot Valley, which is the next one down. And finally, the grants for Teviot Valley. So given that you've got 2 grants areas, you've effectively got about, what's that, $650,000 available as a discretionary fund that you can apply to any activities within the Teviot. All of those other reserves, and you'll note things like the Roxbury Entertainment Centre, that holds the insurance proceeds that we've received to date. So that will be used obviously to reinstate the entertainment centre. The Miller's Flat Pool, it's created from funded depreciation. It's been rated as a targeted rate, and it will remain in that account for the pool activity. And it is only to be used to fund capital works. It's no operational costs allowed to be funded from that reserve. If we move on to
Yep. So there's 13,700 being added to that during the year. Will that continue to happen every year?
No. What we are looking to do, which is, I think, again, this is a council decision where they haven't seen the policy yet, but those types of activities are now funded out of the district pool. So these relate to when it was ward specific.
Right.
Now I would have to check some of that 13,000 be a little component of interest because the account is in funds. I would check as to what the balance is, but it won't be increasing further. And the objective is And councils agreed that these reserves would be the first port of call for work that you might want to do on the assets within the valley. Yeah.
Right. You'll still be running for depreciation across.
We are, yes, but that's going into a general,
So in the future, if that account was exhausted, how would Miller Slate Pool go about funding an upgrade?
that would then go through our planning process, either an annual plan or a long-term plan, and it would come out of the general.
It would be no less eligible compared to a council owned upgrade.
Exactly. Yep. And I think that's what, just reinforcing what the mayor has said, is that it's not, it's to maintain the levels of service across the district. It's so where there's a need, that's where money will be put, type of thing. So, but it will have to go through an annual plan and a long-term plan, or a long-term plan.
So as a standalone user, they're still eligible for funded access to that reserve account.
And the current council policy, yeah.
The endowment land, number 351, go towards the bottom, 169's had 10,000 added, so I presume that's rent, is it?
Yeah.
And that'd be net, so they pay their rates, so that's a net zero sum. That's the net. So that also it's great to see it going up, because in the past it was going down. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's all right.
Yeah, that's great. But we're still sort of cornered there, aren't we? We can't sell it as such.
It's landlocked.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then with the grants and the promotions, we've already allocated 2 years of grants and promotions, I believe.
Yes,
So there won't be any further grants and promotions this year.
From an operational budget, that would be correct. However, if someone came to you and because I don't think you've allocated the full 30,000 between the two. So if someone came to you and said, we need a grant, and you don't have it operationally in the year that you're rating for it, there is the option to use those, either one of or both of those reserves.
But presumably we won't be going to the community and saying, exacerbating that.
Well, our account prices, we do that a couple of times a year, but if there was someone approached you, it could be considered.
Yeah. It's just, it's not limited necessarily by your budget in that particular year. So.
Okay.
So do we still have forestry?
Forestry, I think that's in the endowment.
$2,000 negative.
Oh, so yeah.
That's just a tidy up.
Now was in a deficit. Sorry, it was in a it was in a deficit at the beginning of the year. We allocated money, and if you look at, I think it came out of the Teviot Valley General Reserve to balance them off to zero. Currently, we still charge interest on that, but I'm putting a policy up to council before the end of the financial year to back all those out, because the object is that anything that was in deficit goes back to zero, and that's that paid for by those activities that we could use that were in surplus. So the idea was that there shouldn't be any more, but we don't have a policy in place yet. So that's what it'll go to council in May for their approval. And then all of that will back out so that it's not a deficit account. Sorry.
So then the bottom one is the
yes,
that recreation reserve.
Yes. Now we did a little bit of work on the details of that, and you can see that it is funded depreciation, so that it's been rated for, and it will remain in that account for that activity. And the funded depreciation was specifically funded to collect for capital works. And it was specifically, the depreciation was specifically in relation to the tennis courts and the War Memorial. And it has to be on Miller's Flat land, reserve land. So they are the parameters around what that money can be used for.
So
be nice to use some on a royal that's looking incredibly tatty. It looks as, I was going to donate paint for it to be done up. It's been
Yeah,
for a
that
long time.
can be used for that if that's, and that would have,
I would, potentially that's an OPEX cost, though, isn't it, a repaint of the.
that would be, if it was to, I guess, strengthen it or replace some part of it, that would be the CapEx part.
It needs cleaning and paint. It needs to look like it is at least loved more months than every 10 years.
That, that's David and his team has got that.
And so, from what you're implying here, then, that the building has never been depreciated.
That's correct.
What's the book value of the building? Is it?
I
No.
don't know the answer to that question. No. The other issue with that building that's on road, isn't it? I presume you're talking about the bowling club, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's on road reserve, so that money couldn't be used for that.
Yeah, sure, understand. So we've got 94,000 there to be spent on that facility that we just upgraded. So it might be there for a while.
That's fine, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions for Paul?
So the endowment land is the land at Teviot that I'm on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just a housekeeping thing, is it not Teviot County Council was vested in?
No, because it was given to,
Oh, okay.
it was endowed to the Roxburgh Borough.
Even though it wasn't in the county. Oh, that's interesting.
I think it's split. I think
It's down at Race Junction.
It's part of both sides of the boundary.
went to close down.
Yeah, no, but that's not my point, is we had a Teviot County Council which formed part of Central Otago District Council. And that land would have sat in the Teviot.
It would be.
So, is that correct, Stolman?
Well, no, it was vested in the Roxburgh Borough Council way back in the day.
It's just housekeeping.
Yeah.
It's Peter's.
Yeah, no, I know where it is. I just,
We need to sell it. It's not worth it.
anyway.
I guess if you're looking at value, the value is to the surrounding landowner and they know it's landlocked, so there's no value to them. So I think
Yeah.
it's better if we can just keep earning some income on it.
But how would we ever spend that money though? Because we're not going to sell it. Like, are you saying we could spend that money and use for whatever?
Yeah. The only thing that you
reduce that reserve.
You have to do is that you have to, and it's similar to, I guess, a lot of our other endowments, which say you must use it for the benefit of X. So if there are works within the old Roxburgh Borough that you want to do,
Okay.
that's really the only criteria.
So we don't have to sell it to realise that.
No.
No need to sell it.
No.
Sounds strange, but that's good. I like the answer.
We just need to check the fine details of the endowment, but having a look at, what we've
For the
got.
benefit, I've read that. It's for the benefit of the community.
It's just that.
So it's the
quite cool.
old Roxburgh Borough.
The old borough.
Yeah.
What was
So
the old
that's
borough?
still this and goes down to Rose Junction, past Rose Junction. The old borough. Down.
No, Teviot County Council was College Flat South.
So that's Miller's Flat South is the only place that money can be spent.
No, that's why I'm challenging it, because
No.
I don't understand why
It was given for the purposes to benefit the old Roxburgh Borough Council back in the day. So the boundary, we'll know what the boundary is of the old Roxburgh Borough Council. So any works that you want to do within that old boundary, you can use that fund.
If my confusion lies that it would have sat in the Teviot County Council boundary line.
Maybe the person didn't like to opinion.
Maybe they didn't.
Yeah,
Not too dissimilar to Vincent County Council. That land that sat in their borough,
Yeah.
in their region,
Yeah.
was given to Cromwell
Yeah,
and was
yeah.
given to Allen. So
Yeah,
they
no,
put
that's
it
right.
in lands and it now.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Okay. Any more questions for Paul? Thank you very much, Paul. Do we have to, what do we do with that report?
I think it's just receive it.
Move to accept that report relating to the Teviot Valley Reserves and the annual plan. Thank you, Jill. I'll second it. Right. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
How large is that area plan?
Oh, I just actually got it here.
No, hectares.
No,
It's 28 hectares.
no,
It's a triangle.
bigger than that, isn't it? I thought it was.
It's not perfect.
No, well, the portion that sits is 28 hectares.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it sits with it.
Right. All right. Okay, so we move on to the next item of the agenda, which is the mayor's report.
Right. Teviot Valley Community Board report for this 6 weeks. Some big news in the Valley that Lake Onslow Battery Project has been accepted fast track process. While this is only the very first step, I know it will generate a lot of interest here. Peter and I are meeting with some of the project group next week. It will be a long process and we will ensure that Teviot Valley Community Board is well in the loop as well. In mid-April, I attended the Teviot Valley Dinner Club at Lake Roxburgh Lodge, which was a valuable opportunity to hear directly from residents and discuss local priorities, council processes, what we've got going on, and the wider regional challenges. I really appreciated the discussion and the interest shown in council work. We had a great time. It was a lovely meal and it was really neat to catch up with some of the people that I met at the last dinner. Council made an important decision in late March regarding the Roxburgh Entertainment Centre, confirming approval to proceed with the rebuild on the existing site. This followed recommendations from the community board and allows the project to move into the next phase, including procurement for concept design and activation options. Curtis is now chairing the steering group and I look forward to seeing the progress. The rebuild is going to be a huge project for this community board over the next couple of years and will require a substantial amount of work, but I know you are all up for it. I'm looking forward to being at Mills Flat this weekend for the dawn service to commemorate Anzac, followed by a service at Roxburgh. Given the frost this morning, I suspect we will need to dust off the winter coats and be prepared. So finally, thanks to you all and Hayden in his absence for your continued efforts for the people today. Mark?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll move that the mayor's report be accepted.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vicky. All those in favour?
Yep.
Aye.
Any questions of the mayor before we move on? Okay, we move to the next item, which is the chairman's report. This last month, I've done quite a lot of work personally on the first phase, which of the Mills Flat domain, which is the playgrounds and the pump track and the netball, tennis and pickleball courts. They're now being used. We've still got to put in the pine box and a little bit of seating to go, a little bit of signage. And we're just waiting for the tennis nets and the netball nets to arrive. And we're putting up a basketball backboard soon too. Phase 2 of that relates to determining the potential purchase of the pavilion. About half of the, just over half the committee that was there for the first phase are carrying through and want to continue with the purchase of the pavilion. And we've got some new members that are also local members that are keen to do that. So we've got a committee of about 10 that are keen to do that. We'll be going through the due diligence process. We're waiting to get a sale and purchase agreement from the council for the building and for the land, for the lease of land, and they'll be going through that process. Teviot Prospects will be involved with that process. Other things that are on my list are that we're just waiting for the community plan to be fully published, and that's, I believe that's with the printers. So I've got good looking community plan here. It's been out in the public arena for public view and comment. So that's just about there. Other one is the spatial plan, which is still sitting around waiting for the next phase of that, which I think has been held over because of government RMA changes have held the spatial plan up. Is that correct?
I'll just quickly check on that one.
Okay, I'll carry on and maybe you could just talk to us. We had a meeting about future projects and future planning for the community board back in a couple of months ago, and we come up with 4 major projects, and we're going to talk about those very shortly as to what those projects are. That'll be another item, so I've done a bit of work on that. And the regional, the alluvial fans is another issue that's very, very dear to us all. The Teviot Regional Council have done some reports, extensive reports, spent a lot of money on that, and we're now trying to cajole them into the next phase. And that's difficult because there is multi-party requirement to get around the table: ORC, CODC, DOC, Civil Defence, and us as a community board. So we're doing everything we can to try and rattle that along as soon as we can. We do know that clearing out those alluvial fans, in particular the Chute and Reservoir Creek, is a really, really important step that no matter what the outcome of that meeting is, cleaning out some of the fans and that Chute in particular will be for sure. So we're working on that. I think we'll talk about our other individual projects shortly. So that's my role. Good. Curtis, have you got?
Yep, I'll touch on the town hall rebuild on the next part, but things are gathering pace there. Met with Sally Feynman, Mark, Jessup and I and staff met with Sally Feynman outside the Roxwood Pool. Her walkway committee have done a marvellous job preceding couple of years clearing that bank, getting rid of, council did the tree removal, but they've since planted natives and taken care of it. To this point, it is becoming a something that's a bit beyond their means as a committee of 2 or 3 people to look after it continuously, and then the poplar trees, cyclings are growing again. So talk with her about that and staff, and I would just like for that staff consider it as an LTP consideration, a maintenance contract on that area directly outside the pool going forward, because it'd be a waste to see revert back to ground top and overgrown grass when we've done so much work to establish these plants, and it just needs the ongoing maintenance to see it through into fruition. So if that could be considered by the relevant team, if anyone here can note this down. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Infant Sports and Rec Hub opening of the Mill State Domain Playground a few Sundays ago, and marvellous day out. A lot of people there. Good to see a lot of young and old across the spectrum from Mill State, and it was good to see a good energy and vibe in town. And I just take this opportunity to congratulate that committee, Mark and Pat and everyone else, and all the contractors who in a pretty short space of time found north of 600 grand and from less than a year on council saying you can upgrade the park. It's been delivered, so full credit to you all. I see you're looking to take on another project, the bowling club. On the flip, I've had a few people reach out that building is a bigger liability than first appears. So I think, depending on your outcomes with council, it is something that the community does have a view on both ways. So I just caution that publicly. That's all.
Thank you, Gus.
Don't have any reasons why it's
Well, apart from asbestos and.
Asbestos is fine until it just needs to be.
I'm not going to go into it, but people are worried that it's a bigger liability than first appears. And every building has to be like that. So probably the message on the ceiling.
Who's next? Becky's next.
So my little project, is to looking in the community plan and the feedback we've had, that there is an appetite.
We'll go through the project in specifically. And
We'll do that later.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just any other activity during this? Yeah.
Yep, sorry. I'm jumping into it. So I attended the Teviot Valley Museum meeting the other day. They're a great, very hardworking committee, doing a great job. So they are looking at having their official opening, hopefully in November, and it also coincides with their 50-year anniversary as well. So they're putting in some plans for that. And also coming up on the 9th of May, they're having a wool event, which is a fashion show from Elaine Booth, who's got a shop in the main street now. So she's going to do a little thing, and it's all around wool and the Teviot's version to wool. So it's a Gold Cliff donation, 7 o'clock. So they just wanted to put it out there so we can get some people through there. So yeah. And I've got attending a Teviot Walkways meeting next week as well. So I'll update on where they're at, what countries and whatever. And yeah, so
Okay, so I'm on to the paper with community housing. So just talking to people within the medical groups and people that are involved with the old people, is there a need for community housing in Roxburgh? And at the moment it's about a dead 50-50 between yes and no. So different people look at things differently. So just tapping the valley for is there a need and what that need is, and then how to move forward from that. Over the last week or so, I brought a documentary to Roxburgh called Managed Out, which is about managed retreat, and had 3 sessions in one day that were very well attended, and Roxburgh, and then I had another meeting on managed retreat, because we're probably facing that with people who are living at the bottom of these chutes. Insurances are now getting harder to get, which means that it's harder for a house to sell, which means that people are losing equity in their property because they're going to have to take cash buys. So from the outcome of those meetings and the showing of Managed Out, is a real want for the community to talk to our council. They want to know what's going on. They want to know what's going on with the lack of mitigation, flood mitigation work that's going on, or that's not going on, basically. And I think there is a serious need for a community meeting about what's going on, because people's equity is now being eaten away at. So if you can't sell your house to somebody who can't get a mortgage because they can't get insurance, it starts interfering with people's lives. So, yep. So then you have to drop to a cash buyer eventually. And, you know, we also spoke about this golden visa thing. You can get cash buyers that can spend whatever money on a house. They don't need to have it insured. And if it gets washed away in the flood, it doesn't matter because they can rebuild it anyway. So, there's some real concerns in Valley about what's coming down the pipe.
Right, thanks, Jill. We'll talk more about the community housing at the next item later in the agenda. Thank you very much.
Yeah, can we receive the members' report and we will.
Okay, so I propose that my report and members' reports be received. A second for that. Thank you, Jill.
I have an answer to your question.
Oh, yes.
So the spatial plan was finalised and it was adopted. back in November 2024, where the new zoning was required to occur, that can't happen. That was planned to occur in stage 2 of the district plan upgrades. But obviously now with the government's reform program putting a hold on district plan reviews, and if things hadn't started, they were to start, then we're in that pause one.
Waiting for RMA reform to be.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's the end of the members' reports. Thank you, Peter, for that. We now move to the governance report, which is a list of projects that have been approved by the council relating to this valley, and it's just it's just a list and update of where those projects are. For those that haven't read it, the Town Hall Entertainment Centre rebuild is one of them. Peter's going to report more on that shortly. There are 2 road stoppings that are administratively processing. The issue of entertainment location, alternative location option has been closed. Road stopping, and that's it. That's all of the projects that are going on. Anyone have any questions on any of those?
Yes, the road stopping. There's 2 road stoppings, so they're going ahead.
Is
The money from the road stopping comes back to the valley.
Goes into the road. Well, it depends on what the sale proceeds are, if there's any exchange of land and all those sorts of things. But invariably, go back to the account.
Okay. Sorry, we'll go back to what? To roading.
Roading.
So because you're getting quite a bit of roading money out of the royalties from the gold mine, really nice when you get a bit of maintenance work done, clean the gutters, get all the gutterings cleaned out before winter really sets in. Like so your road is covered well.
Some roads. Well, yeah. Oh, fine. I can sneak up.
No, the road stopping money is normally goes back into the roading fund for the district. So all the road stoppings in your areas, money will be applied to roads here, but it takes quite a lot of time before we reach that stage where we're actually getting the final income. So in this case, for these 2 road stoppings, it's finalised. So there is no funds available yet. With regards to other projects in the rest of the district, like the mine and all that, obviously that would be a decision that we made at the time when that's complete as well. It's only in the early stages, really.
But out of the world is getting, was it 285,000, and then 165 of that goes into roading anyway. So you already get quite a bit of money coming out of roading.
Yeah.
So with the road stopping, it's not a lot of money. It's a tiny bit compared with that. Would we be able to put it into maybe cleaning up some of the stuff that we need to have cleaned up in town here?
Yeah, we're getting quite a bit done.
We desperately need some channel and curbing done. We need Kelso Street needs to be cleaned up. Little Street needs to be cleaned up so that it doesn't flood.
I think the street segments on the radar.
Yeah, I hope so because and they need to talk to the supermarket people with their trucks and stuff. So it's cool to have a mention of it brought back into town.
Yeah, so the decision was to put money towards the road and emergency works fund and the emergency event fund, or both.
In the context, there was a $300,000 spent on flood repair damage from the February 2025 thunderstorm. So a lot of it did end up back here.
Oh yeah, but you've got at least a 10-year plan where money is going to be, you're getting a windfall of the mine, and so that's a 10-year good money going into roading in the district. So anything a little bit extra from other things would be good to be. It's some non-sexy work time.
Well, thank you, everybody. The next, receives a governance report. I move we receive the governance report. I've seconded that. Jill seconded that. Thank you, Jill.
It's very small without Hayden, wasn't it?
Yeah, everyone's gonna stay away. Okay. Item 35, page 35, item 26.3.9 is the Teviot Valley Community Board current projects update. This is a new thing for us, and we have some projects that as a board we're working on. We had a look at the proposed Teviot Valley Community Plan, and we also use that as a base point for us to see projects. There were some strategic project planning session held earlier in the year, and between the five of us, we came up with 4 major projects that are in this plan that we thought were the most important to the valley. So we picked those up and to try and move forward and get proactive for the valley about them. Some of the things in this community plan are council issues, some are not council issues. Some, however, as a community board, we represent community and we sit between the council and between the community. So there will be things that are in here that we champion and we advocate for, but they're not things that the council can necessarily put money in, and may have little to do with the council. But that's not to say that we as a community board don't have a responsibility to see if we can assist for those things to get done. The 4 largest ones we'll talk about now one by one. It's my proposal that we do talk about each of these 4 each month briefly, or if there's been some significant movement in a greater depth, it'll be the opportunity for those people that are allocated those projects to tell us what's happened on them for the last month. Also, some of these projects do parallel things that are going on in a bigger basis within the CODC. And so we need to be very cognizant that we don't want to work in a silo of development that we're just doing our own thing. Because the CODC have much bigger fish to fry and can make things happen a lot quicker than us in some cases. So we need to be working in parallel with them on these options. The 4 that we're talking about are, and we'll go through them in depth, each member. Firstly, the town hall and town centre rebuild. Secondly, what's been termed an integrated health division of the valley. Thirdly, community housing at the valley. And fourthly, provision of some gymnasium or gymnasium type facilities in the valley. So the first one on that list is the town hall entertainment centre rebuild, and the person that has that responsibility is Hannah.
Cool, thank you. So if you've been living under a rock, the location decision was framed up last month and staying put, and everyone's happy to have that in concrete and moving on and upwards, coincided with the full insurance settlement landing in the account. So we are aware that PSG has moved to fortnightly meetings. And there's a fair bit of work going on there now, both on the staff side and the members from Roxburgh's staff are currently working on RFP request for proposals for design services, which is going out later this month, I believe, possibly next fortnight anyway. And the Roxburgh contingent or the 4 external stakeholders are working on developing stakeholder list to be passed to the design areas once they're selected, and they'll be forming the basis of the groups that the designer engages with directly and through community drop-ins, making sure that their voices are heard and what they want for the building. So reach out to any one of those 4 people or myself if you think you should be a stakeholder that's on the list. But of course, the whole community is a stakeholder, and there will be drop-ins throughout the whole process, so everyone will get a chance. So on drop-ins, the steering group itself are looking at holding another, just for quick info night, 14th of May, Thursday the 14th of May. Hasn't been confirmed just yet, but pencil that in and just updating the design pathways, how the how that input from the community will be fed into the project, those opportunities in mind. I believe that's all from me on that. Moving fast, we'll move pretty fast for this year. Yeah, so a big project. And, many people within the whole Teviot Valley to have their say on what they would like to see. Because this is a building that will be for a very long time, so we'll make sure it's fit for purpose and used by everyone now and into the future.
That's good. Big project for sure. We just run the Teviot Valley for a long time.
We hit the ground rolling.
Any of the other members or staff got any questions for Curtis on that project? Okay, move to the next one. Number 2 was integrated health for the valley. So the background to this was, again, from the community plan, there were a lot of comments about health for going forwards for the future, and a lot of it was based around a concern about continuing good health services in the valley. As we went through this community plan, the timing was such that there'd been a big scare about funding for the local doctor's surgery, and people were very concerned about the provision of health. So that was one of the reasons that this was highlighted. And there are some things that are also mentioned here to do with the rest home, which sort of dovetails into community housing almost, but not quite. Some questions about the nurses' home, and some questions about rural nursing provision, mental health provision, and local fitness and wellbeing programs. So there's quite a big ball of wax there. But what I hope to be able to get out of this project is that we can create a blueprint for what we've got at the moment, so that everybody understands what health services are available, and if you're an older person, what options are available to you. If you're a young person with a family, this is what you've got. If you've got an urgent problem, this is what you've got, etc., etc. And build a picture so that we've got a resource which is more understandable for the community as to what we currently have. If you speak to people in the health services provision, they are very proud of what they give to us in the valley at the moment. And in fact, I had a chat with people from Health Central in Alexandra this week, and they said that they think the way that they do things in Roxburgh is almost the poster child for how they would like to be able to provide integrated health throughout all of the Central Otago. We're only a part of their whole customer base, but that was their comment there. So I do think that provision of health is a misunderstood topic, in that it's one of those things where people probably think, well, the government do it all. Well, there's nothing further from the truth. So hopefully I can build a resource, and we can have a public meeting, and everyone can come along and they can ask questions, and everyone will be further educated about how these things are done, and then that might springboard to some other ideas about other things that can be done with it. So that's how that project is going to progress.
We've got great nursing staff in the valley. They are fabulous.
Yep. Considering our loads,
Very easy to have them.
I think we're not going to do bad, but that's where we go. So just as the Medical Services Trust, for example, people don't understand what that does. The Medical Services Trust used to run the doctor's surgery. It no longer does. It sold the doctor's surgery, that business, to Central Health a couple of years ago, 3 years ago maybe. And so Medical Services Trust now is purely a landlord of the rest home, and secondly of a surgery. It's not a fully commercial landlord who just wants to make profit. It realises it has a huge social responsibility to continue the provision, enabling the provision, not providing health services, but enabling health services to be provided. And that's a very, very heavy mantle that they bear as a landlord. So along with them and the chairman of the Medical Services Trust, we had a meeting with Health Central in Alexandra a few days ago, and I can report that they are very happy with what they're doing here. They want to continue here, continue supplying services to the community, and in fact grow those services. And they talked about maybe some physio services where they might need a gym for some work to be done, etc. Things like that. They are awaiting the next phase of funding to be announced by Well South, who are they're the wholesaler of health funds from the health ministry. That's updated that one. So, any questions?
No, but one place that I might suggest you start is the Alexandria Community House has a new website that they keep going. I think they did it earlier this year or late last year, and it has a local directory on it, which is exceptionally comprehensive, but could possibly be expanded to also include some of those places that are specific to the valley, or a lot of those people in there cover the whole of Central Otago. So they might be
right. I can get some resource there to produce this picture of what happens in the valley, you know. And I didn't mention, but you know, also how do we touch and use the hospital at Clyde? How do we touch and use the hospital facilities and how do we use maybe some of those other things? Thank you very much. Great. All right. The next one is number 3, community housing list. Jill and Hayden are working together on that. I know Hayden's been to see the Naitahu. Anyway, Jill, you can follow.
No, he's spoke to the people in Naitahu that have got the old health camp site, but nothing has progressed at that stage. And like I said earlier, you know, just asking through the medical people whether community housing is a need for it here in Roxburgh, and it's like 50-50. Said some yes and some no. So that's direct split down the hill. So it needs to be a little bit of a tighten up of exactly what community housing involves, whether we, you know, traditionally it's always been like the old people, the pensioners flats, which at the moment are not bursting at the seams. So, and that's been the housing side. You know, we need to crowd exactly what community housing is and who it involves, what it involves. So, you know, I don't know if these are flats and dwellings for people that have got no home or are on the bottom end of the scale or in trouble or, you know, need somewhere for 6 months to rehab or what. I just don't know, but, you know, so again, too, like how they do community housing in Dunedin, you're looking at the same thing there that we are here. Same thing, where you have your own personal bedroom and then shared facilities, shared kitchens up. I don't know. You know, so we need a little bit of direction of what we're looking at so we know what we're looking at.
Yeah. So I mean that's the first stage, is to determine what we've currently got and then perhaps look on the other side of the fence at what we need. And see, you know, where that comes to, but listen as well, of course, of the bigger picture of what's going on in Central Otago and elsewhere. And Tamer, have you got some?
Yeah, housing availability and affordability forms one of the pillars of the regional deal negotiations with the government. And when you're looking at the options of a place that is your own room but shared facilities, there's a group in Alexandria that are looking to build an Abbeyfield house. They've secured some land, and Farrell Gillian at Alexandria Community House would be the person to talk about that. They haven't got it.
See, I don't know if that's needed here.
And that's probably talking to her would be about the process if that was something that we wanted to investigate here. But we do have some elderly pensioner housing type thing here, which is incredibly popular, but as you say, not bursting at the seams. So it may well be that you would like to see what falls out of the regional deal negotiations.
It might be nice too, maybe to put a little bit of money into the existing flats that we do have. And then one of the things that is comes to community housing and looking at like Bowling, the nurses' home, which sits behind the hospital, but absolutely nobody can afford it. Again, too, that's where some royalties out of the mine would really help, but everything's districtised, so we actually we miss out again on this, but that nurses' home could be bold, completely removed, and that would make a really good section to put community housing on. So it's right there, it's right by the rest home, which is on the alluvial fan, and a flooding risk, by the way, according to the report. So we have the space and a good place to put it, but we can't afford to get rid of the building that's there.
And that's been the challenge. A lot of it is that there's space and the land for us to build more, but we don't want it to come at a cost of ratepayers. So it's about looking at the regional deals, leveraging how else we could provide additional scope for more buildings that involve affordable or accessible housing, without it.
See, this is what I don't understand with the two mines that are coming, with the Santana mine and the mine that's here that is expanding. You know, we don't seem to get anything back from it. It just gets sucked into the districtisation and it disappears, and we don't see anything.
You get lower rates.
You know, what is it, 280,000 out of here per year, and $1 million and something out of Santana, which is
Santana hasn't been approved yet, so we're busy.
All I'm saying is that you can't. Yeah, I get your point that it's not going specifically to something, but it's still
last year was not lower rates.
Yes, but I'm saying,
We need,
yes, it's very hard to specifically go, that's what that money goes to.
we need,
It's 0.5.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
At the moment, the Hawkwood.
Yeah.
Is reduces rate by
Yeah, but
0.5.
that's my point, is it still goes to something.
it does, but you know, it could go to something or one off while we've got the opportunities to do it.
Okay, thanks, Jill. I mean, comments well made.
But thank you for that.
So we'll have further updates each month on progress, and on each of these little projects. So that comes to the end of that projects update. So we move on to the last one, which is last one. So we move at the. Oh, okay. So the Middlesbrough domain report and column report I covered off in my own personal really the chairman's report. Lake Onslow, we've had a little update from the mayor to say that they're meeting next week, hopefully with the people there to get some feedback. And we've spoken about the ORC alluvial fans to say that we've got a meeting coming. We're trying to arrange a meeting of all of the interested and responsible parties as soon as possible.
I just got a little bit of an update from last on the timing of that. So the project partners, CNZ, TA and Citizen EM will meet to discuss mitigation work mid-year. So that one would be mid-year. She's always
Great.
Right.
Great.
April,
May.
yeah.
Which is June, July. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, and then and still the same though, with the community update will be in the last quarter again.
Right, cool. That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Cool. Okay, so that's an update on the current projects that we hope to move forward. Some will end up, no doubt, in bricks and mortar. Because others may end up with proposals for the council to do something. Others might end up with some reports which are a basis of a further springboard for further action. So we'll see what comes of that. That brings us pretty much to the end of this part of the meeting. So of us. So do I have a proposer and a seconder to accept those Teviot Valley Community Board reports, please? Bill's proposing it. All right, seconding it. All those in favour?
Aye.
So that comes to the end of those agenda items. The next we now talk about our next meeting, and then we're going to move into some workshops. The two. So the next meeting, the day of the next meeting. We have the 11th of June, Thursday 11th of June is the date for the next meeting. And so that I'll be away at that point. Curtis, as deputy chair, will chair that meeting. So, thank you, Curtis. Yeah. So that'll be on Thursday, 11th of June next month. So I invite you all to stand up and stretch your legs for 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll start some workshops at 11:35.